They never told you this part about aging. Not the doctors, not the magazines, not even the countless health shows you've watched late at night when sleep won't come. They talk about diets, medications, exercises, but they rarely talk about this, about the invisible hunger that still lives in your chest. The quiet longing for touch, desire, connection, even at 60, 70, or beyond. Society often assumes that as we age, those flames should die down, that passion becomes a thing of the past. But what if they were wrong? What if your body is still capable of more, of feeling alive, desirable, even magnetic again? If only you knew how to unlock it. What if the natural energy that once surged through you still exists, dormant beneath layers of stress, habits, and silent resignation? And what if, just by doing one thing before bed each night, you could begin to awaken that energy again, gently and powerfully, without drugs, without shame, and without gimmicks? This isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming something real, something deeply human, the kind of vitality that lets you feel present in your skin again, the kind that brings warmth back to your touch, sparkle to your eyes, and a sense of quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout. And the best part? It doesn't require anything extreme. No expensive treatments, no invasive routines, just a small, intentional shift in how you relate to your body before sleep. Maybe you've noticed how things have changed over the years, physically, emotionally, hormonally. Maybe you've felt embarrassed, wondering if something's wrong with you, or if your time has simply passed. You're not alone. Millions of men and women over 60 wrestle with this silent loss of desire, often in isolation, carrying questions they're too afraid to ask out loud. But here's something powerful. The body has a memory. It remembers what it feels like to want, to connect, to ignite, and it's never too late to remind it. But this video isn't just about libido. It's about what libido really represents: life force. That quiet but potent pulse that fuels joy, curiosity, creativity, and yes, intimacy. Libido is not a dirty word. It's not just about sex. It's about feeling like you again, feeling engaged with the world, confident in your presence, and alive in ways that matter deeply. And when you learn to nourish that spark before you sleep, not with pills or artificial tricks, but with real restorative practices, you give your body permission to come back online, to heal, to desire, to feel whole again. Now, here's where most people get it wrong. They think boosting libido after 60 means hormone therapy, endless supplements, or unrealistic expectations. But that's not how the body works. At this stage of life, your body is asking for something else entirely: presence, intention, a different kind of listening. And when you start giving it what it truly needs, especially in those quiet minutes before bed, it responds. Not immediately, but gradually, subtly, and with surprising power. This video will walk you through 3 essential practices, not routines, but experiences, that can begin to awaken your natural libido in a gentle, sustainable way. Practices that restore balance to your nervous system, reactivate your hormonal health, and reconnect you to your own inner rhythm. And most importantly, they help you feel again. Not like your younger self, but like your fullest, truest self right now. So if you've ever stared at the ceiling at night, wondering if something's missing, if you felt a quiet ache that no amount of sleep or supplement seems to satisfy, or if you simply want to feel more alive, more connected, and more yourself as you age, then stay with me. What comes next might just change the way you move through the world, and it all starts tonight, just before you close your eyes. There is a kind of wisdom in your skin that no doctor can measure, no blood test can tell, quantify. It's the wisdom of memory, not the memory of facts or names, but of sensation. The body remembers every touch that ever made it feel safe. It remembers the warmth of a lover's hand decades ago, the rhythm of a heartbeat against your back, the way your breath used to deepen when you felt desired. These memories don't fade with age. They go quiet. They wait. And if you're willing to meet them, even gently, they begin to stir again. Every night before you sleep, your body transitions into a state of vulnerability. It prepares to let go, to rest, to heal. But this moment is also sacred. It is a doorway. And if you learn how to approach it with care, it can become a portal to something deeper, the reawakening of your own sensual self. Not the rushed, performative sexuality that media sells to the young, but something wiser, slower, more powerful, more real. Before sleep, in the privacy of your room, your body asks for connection. Not necessarily with someone else, but with you. It asks to be noticed, to be touched, not for stimulation, but for remembrance. One of the most powerful ways to support your libido after 60 is to engage in what many have forgotten how to do: to offer your own body the gift of presence. That means undistracted, intentional attention. It means letting your hands reconnect with your skin as if you're meeting an old friend. Not to judge, not to fix, but to listen. The act is simple, but the impact is profound. Lightly massaging your body before bed, your neck, your arms, your thighs, your chest, not mechanically, but with genuine care, begins to awaken nerves that have gone dormant. You're not just soothing muscle tension. You're signaling to your nervous system, I am safe, I am here, I am allowed to feel again. This kind of touch, when done slowly, with breath and intention, sends powerful messages to the brain. It reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that kills desire. It boosts oxytocin, the bonding hormone that opens the heart. It quiets the mind and brings you back into your body where all true desire lives. But perhaps even more important is what this practice tells your soul: that you are still worthy of care, that your body is not broken, that even now in this new chapter of life you are still capable of awakening, of pleasure, of presence. There is nothing shameful about touching your own body. In fact, for many over 60, it becomes a path to healing, a way of reclaiming something that was lost not through age, but through neglect, disconnection, or the belief that those days are over. This isn't about chasing what once was. It's about discovering what has always been here, waiting under the surface. The skin may wrinkle, but the nerves beneath it still respond. The hormones shift, but the heart still longs. And this longing is not weakness. It is your vitality speaking. It is your spirit knocking, asking to be let in again. And when you answer that knock, even with the simplest gesture, the quietest breath, something deep inside you begins to stir. Some nights it will feel awkward. Some nights you may feel silly. Old doubts may rise. Why am I doing this? Is this ridiculous? But stay with it. Let the hands move with kindness. Let the breath slow. Let the mind soften. Over time, your body will begin to trust again. You'll notice subtle changes. Maybe you sleep more deeply, or wake up feeling more present in your own skin. Maybe you begin to feel a quiet buzz of energy again, not from caffeine or supplements, but from something more ancient, your own reawakened life force. No one teaches us how to age with sensuality. No one hands us a guide for how to stay connected to our bodies after the rush of youth fades. But that doesn't mean it's over. It just means the rules have changed. And when you learn to play by these new rules, slower, deeper, more conscious, you unlock a kind of libido that isn't dependent on youth at all. It's rooted in truth, in tenderness, in the sacred act of remembering what it means to feel. And that feeling, that return to sensation, to awareness, to presence, is the first step toward reawakening your natural desire. It doesn't matter if you're alone or with a partner. This is your body, your space, your night. And the way you treat yourself before sleep is the signal you send to your deeper self, that you are still alive, that you are still open, that you are still here. There is something most people forget when they talk about libido. They focus on physical function, on performance, on the mechanics of stimulation, but they ignore the core of it all, energy. Not just the kind of energy you use to get through your day, but a deeper current. A quiet, primal energy that flows through your body when you feel truly alive. This energy is not measured in steps or calories. It is felt in the spaces between your thoughts, in the moments your body softens, your chest opens, and your breath begins to lead you back to yourself. That's why the second practice is so powerful and so often overlooked, because it doesn't look like much from the outside. You won't see flashy transformations or dramatic results overnight. But inside, something subtle and extraordinary begins to happen. You start to reconnect to the rhythm that fuels your vitality, your breath. Breathing is the one function your body does automatically, and yet it's also the one you can consciously influence. And when you begin to guide your breath in a very specific way before sleep, you begin to shift your entire internal chemistry. You lower cortisol, quiet inflammation, stabilize your heart rate, and, most importantly for libido, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part of your body responsible for rest, repair, and arousal. It's where desire lives, not in the chase, but in the stillness, not in the stress, but in the softness. The problem is that most people over 60 are constantly stuck in a state of subtle survival. It's not always dramatic, but years of stress, trauma, societal pressure, and even medical fear slowly train the body to stay on guard. Shoulders tense, jaws clench, the breath becomes shallow, and over time, your nervous system forgets how to relax fully. This chronic tension doesn't just steal your peace, it strangles your libido, because a body that's in survival mode cannot access desire. It's too busy protecting itself to feel anything else. But when you begin to retrain your breath, not just during the day, but right before bed, you give your body a new message. It's safe to feel again. One of the most effective ways to do this is with a simple, intentional practice called wave breathing. You lie in bed, eyes closed, one hand on your chest, the other on your belly. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale gently through the mouth for 6. Do this for 5, then 10, then 15 minutes. Let the breath roll through you like a tide, smooth, slow, and steady. Over time, this rhythm begins to quiet the noise inside you. And as the breath deepens, your inner fire begins to return. It's subtle at first, maybe a warmth in the belly, a tingling in your hands, a gentle softening behind your eyes. These are the signals that your body is waking up, that it's no longer defending itself, that it's willing to feel pleasure again, not just physical, but emotional, spiritual, energetic. Your libido is not a switch, it's a flame, and breath is the air that keeps it burning. You may not feel dramatic shifts on the first night. That's not the point. This is not about performance. This is about returning. Every night you practice this breathing, you are creating new pathways in your brain and body. Pathways that say, I am not done, I am not broken, I am still here, and I am ready to live in this body again. And your body listens, because the body always listens. All it needs is the right signal. Here is something most people never realize. The breath is directly tied to your hormonal system. When you breathe deeply and consciously, your brain releases signals to regulate your endocrine system, balancing testosterone, estrogen, dopamine, and oxytocin. These are not abstract ideas. These are the very substances that create the sensations of arousal, excitement, openness, and trust. And your breath can guide them back into harmony, not through force, but through rhythm. Think of breath as the bridge between your conscious mind and your physical body. When you guide it with intention, you are not just relaxing, you are rewiring. You are teaching your nervous system that safety and pleasure are not enemies, they are partners. And when your body feels safe and open, that's when true desire returns. Not the frantic craving of youth, but the steady pulse of vitality that says, I am whole, I am enough, I am alive. And perhaps most beautifully, this breath practice is yours, alone. You don't need a prescription, you don't need a partner, you don't need to explain it to anyone. Just you, your body, and your breath, in those quiet moments before sleep, choosing to remember what it feels like to come home to yourself, to feel softness where there was tension, warmth where there was numbness, fire where there was once only quiet. This practice is not flashy, it is not fast, but it is real. And night after night, as you breathe with presence, your body begins to believe again that there is still time, that pleasure is still possible, that your breath can carry you back to the source of your desire, gently, patiently, and powerfully. By the time we reach 60, we've lived through decades of stories, some joyful, some painful, some that still echo quietly in the back of our minds each night before sleep. We've loved, we've lost, we've learned to adapt. And in the middle of all that living, we often forget something sacred, our capacity to imagine. Not in the childish sense of fantasy, but in the deep, restorative sense of emotional memory, the kind that shapes the nervous system, awakens the senses, and invites desire to return not as performance, but as presence. What most people don't realize is that libido isn't just a matter of chemistry or physicality. It begins in the mind, not just with thoughts of sex, but with felt memories of connection, beauty, intimacy, and emotional safety. And the mind, when invited to participate before sleep, can become one of the most powerful tools in reawakening your natural drive, not through external stimulation, but through internal resonance. This third practice is subtle, quiet, but it has the power to change the way your brain and body relate to desire itself. It begins with this simple idea. Just before sleep, allow yourself to remember or imagine a moment of closeness, a moment in your life when you felt seen, held, wanted. It doesn't have to be recent. It doesn't even have to be real. What matters is how your body responds when you bring that image to life. You lie in bed, in the dark, the breath soft and steady, and you allow yourself to recall, in full emotional color, the sensation of closeness. It might be a memory of lying next to someone you loved. It might be the feeling of someone brushing their fingers across your hand. Or it might be a completely imagined moment. Someone looking into your eyes, their voice soft, their presence warm. You don't force arousal. You invite connection. And what happens next may surprise you. Your body, though older, is not blind to emotion. It still responds to stories, especially the ones it believes. When you imagine intimacy vividly, your brain cannot always tell the difference between memory and reality. It begins to release the same neurochemicals it would if that moment were truly happening. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. These are the building blocks not only of mood and well-being, but of libido. Over time, this practice becomes more than just a bedtime ritual. It becomes a form of healing. Because so many over 60 carry silent wounds around intimacy, experiences of rejection, years of neglect, messages from society that say, "You're past your prime," or "This part of your life is over." These messages are lies, but they stick, and unless you consciously rewrite them, they become internal truths. Imagined intimacy is how you begin to write a new truth. This is not about fantasy for escape. It's about presence for reconnection. It's about letting your body feel safe enough to long again, to ache gently, to open even just a little. And when you do this consistently, night after night, something begins to change. Your body doesn't just relax, it begins to anticipate, to prepare, to remember. And just like that, the old pathways of desire, once forgotten, begin to light up again. Some nights this may bring a tear. That's okay. Emotion is not the enemy of libido, it's the fuel. Because desire at this stage of life is not about performance, it's about permission. Permission to feel, permission to want, permission to believe that your sensuality still belongs to you, even now, especially now. And perhaps the most beautiful part? This ritual requires no one but you. No pills, no pressure, no shame. Just you, your breath, your memory, and your willingness to feel again. You are not chasing youth, you are reclaiming truth. The truth that you are still capable of love, of longing, of light. Each night as you drift into sleep, your brain processes what it believes to be true. And if what it believes is that you are still a being of desire, still worthy of closeness, of heat, of softness, it will begin to rebuild your biology around that belief. Your hormones shift, your sleep deepens, your dreams become more vivid. And slowly, gently, your body begins to trust itself again. This is how desire is rebuilt after 60. Not with urgency, not with shame, but with quiet reverence. With imagination as medicine. With the simple courage to feel, even when it hurts a little. Especially when it hurts a little. Because that ache is not emptiness, it's the doorway. And when you walk through it, night after night, you awaken not just your libido, but your life. And what's waiting on the other side is not just pleasure, it's presence. A kind of deep, grounded sensuality that doesn't fade with age. It deepens, it sharpens, it softens. And it becomes something you carry with you into every touch, every breath, every moment of the life you're still living. So now, as you prepare for sleep tonight, you know something most people your age were never told. That your desire didn't disappear. It was never gone. It was only waiting. Waiting for your attention. Waiting for breath. Waiting for touch. Waiting for imagination. And now, piece by piece, you've begun to remember what it means to feel alive again. Not in some superficial way, but in a way that grounds you, honors you, and brings you back into your own body. This is not the end of your story. It's a new chapter, one written not with regret, but with reverence. And every night, as you bring these practices into your routine, whether it's with your hands, your breath, or your memory, you are sending your body the most powerful message of all. I'm still here. I still matter. I still burn. You don't need permission to feel. You don't need to justify your longing. Your sensuality, your tenderness, your fire, they are not relics of the past. They are alive in you, right now, pulsing just beneath the surface, ready to be welcomed home. And if this video spoke to something deep in you, if it reminded you of something you hadn't felt in a while, then I invite you to take just one more small step. Click like. It helps this message reach others who may be quietly longing for the same reconnection. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. We're building a community here, one that honors aging not as decline, but as transformation. A space for healing, truth, and deep remembering. And finally, leave a comment. Tell me, what did this awaken in you? What part of yourself are you ready to welcome back? Your words might just be the light someone else needs to begin their own return. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are still fire. Good night and welcome back.